here we go. And I here we'll look at all your ads and I'll kind of say, okay, winner, pause. That's what I'm going to kind of tell you, and I'm going to show you what I look for. And you'll get used to this over time, guys. It'll become like you'll be experts. I won't no longer be teaching you. You'll be knowing exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm still trying to educate myself on what all these numbers mean.
We're going to do that on a weekly basis, and the trials are kind of like it's a fire hose. So you're kind of coming out for real fast, trying to figure out what to do. But here's what you look at. These funnels that we work have industry standards. So you kind of work off these standards. The standards on this funnel that you're working, the seller side with the 3 home emojis, it's got about a 60% click to contact ratio across North America, Canada, US included. So that means 6 out of every 10 clicks. So if you're not getting standards of that type of click through, pause the ad probably. So so for example, 7 out of 26 is too low. That's okay. So I'm going to immediately pause that one.
I thought to pause that one like a couple days ago, but I just wanted to like go through you instead of trying to figure it out by myself.
Good. God, see, trust your intuition. Women usually have good intuition. Okay. Now, secondly, you have 2 ads left with. And so when you look at 12 out of 23, that's right around 50%. That's good. Similarly with the 12 out of 27. Now, then I find that when you look at the click to contact ratio and then you look at the address to email ratio, because leads in this ad performance metrics is saying an address. That's what it means.
Yes.
So what you do is you kind of follow that on our funnel. I'll show you which funnel we're talking about so you kind of can follow with me. This particular funnel shows you 60% right around. But
okay, so here's the thing. When I come in here on my own, it doesn't populate these numbers.
No, it doesn't. You won't see it unless you're here.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get the dev team to give that view for you guys. But here's what you'll learn right now. $2.23 an address is an average. Okay. And that's if you combine high-end millionaire markets with, trailer areas. I don't know. I'm just making it up entirely. So, and then you look at $6.26 an email. So that means for me, that just kind of indicates 1 in 3 addresses are emails if you kind of do your math. And then I look at the $18 phone numbers that shows me 1 in 3 emails are a phone number. So when I'm going into your ads, I'm kind of then looking at 1 in 3, it's following suit. And this one's even a little bit better. It's 5 out of 12. So now if you're looking at between 3.3 and 4.3 as like, okay, well, which one is the winner without the, like the obvious is being this one's got 1 more email. And similarly leads similar CPC, which is cost per click by about 20 cents. Then I go into contacts and I start looking at where the leads are coming from. And I look at the last 2 digits.
Okay. Now I know how to read it.
Yeah. So now you're going to be like, okay, well, if I have these last 2 ads being 4.3 and 3.3, then let me kind of review my 4.3 and 3.3 ads. So I got 4.3s from Scarsborough. And then I go 3.3 from Oshawa. Yep. And then 4.3 from, looks like Pefferlaw. Yeah. And then I kind of look at it that way. And then 5.3 a knit. So I mean, yeah. So you're kind of liking it that way, right? And so, and by the way, for most of you guys, this funnel is good. Beyond the trial, I am thoroughly convinced that this is the way to go, which is what's your home really worth.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have that access yet, but what it does is it's basically a call to action that says, enter your address, receive your home value. And so I like that because there's high integrity there. You're basically telling them exactly what they need to do. Where in the other one, you can kind of get like, if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it, find its value in the current market? Like, of course, you go to the address submission, but they're probably still like, well, it's not as clear as here, at least on the ad, you're almost telling them, well, you are telling them that this is what you got to do to get your home evaluation. It makes sense logically, but when you're on Facebook, you're not always thinking logically, you're just not. So that's the key moving beyond this, because a lot of people will use this one and they'll throw the map right back into it and it'll be amazing. I've seen it over and over again. And it also gives you the options to upload your own images. So if you ever have like cool landmarks things in that area that everybody kind of sees every day. That's a great visual to put in front of someone in that funnel too. And obviously homes. I saw yesterday we did a webinar with Jennifer Salter, and she's done 19 transactions in 19 months with StreetText, like averaging about 1 a month. And she now using an ad that I really like. It's just of a nice home in her area, but she has a couple, 2 or 3 numbers on that ad that are just showing like comparable prices, just like little bubbles. So that's the type of creative you can start thinking about as well. Cool. So all this to say is I would look at those last 2, Karen, and maybe vet them out a little bit to see which one you want to keep going into the weekend, or you could let them both go into the weekend. And then moving beyond this one, I think that you're going to even do better and get more submissions with the home, what's your home really worth at? I would personally.
Right.
Okay. Let's go to who's next. Who wants to be next?
I'll be
Who's
next.
got a split test? Don, you got a split test going?
I don't. I'm new. Like
Okay.
new. I had somebody on my team kind of work through this once before, but didn't share anything with me. So I just took the plunge and signed up for 6 months, and here I am.
Oh, here you are.
Tony's my coach, Tony Alfano. So
Yeah.
I think you talked with him yesterday. And
Oh, good. Okay. Yes.
I
So
whatever he's doing.
whatever he's doing. Well, I don't know if Tony's actually using it like he should either, but that's,
Okay, I want to do it better than
you
Tony.
get those high level coaches out there, they're not as hands-on as they should be because they're so used to people doing things for them.
Yeah. Then I want to do it better than Tony. How about that?
Okay, how about that? Okay, so Don, you would do, you would basically just go into, because I have a live account. So I'll show you guys, this is a good learning lesson anyway, because you can see what I can do with a live account for Don. So Don, ads wise, let's see, don't have anything going right now. So what I'll do is I'll start from scratch from you. And I'll go into this one, which is what everybody has in trial, but that's only so I can build the, so where exactly is, because do you work dual license like Washington and Oregon?
I do.
Okay, so what would be the pin drop that you would be willing to work at least 15 miles, and you can open up that radius bigger than 15, but what would be the most central address or zip for you?
I would say 97219.
97219. Okay, so follow me, guys, because this is always how you build ads. When you drop a pin, you get to really visually see where Facebook's going to put this ad, and then you kind of see the outskirts of that circle and keep that in your mind's eye, because you're going to adjust your ad for that. So if I look at Barlow and I just passed the border into Washington and so forth. So when I escape out of this, what I usually do is I grab this with the Command C. I use a Mac. You can do a copy type of feature. Click done, and I'm locking into this longitude latitude. And then I go back and I actually design my ad by pasting that in and adjusting my ad imagery to reflect that. So, whether you go to a map or you go to terrain to pull in the mountains or go to satellite, like I get it. This dark satellite seems like no one would click on it, but it's quite the contrary. Sometimes it's actually my best performing ad, even when it looks this dark. But for you right now, I'll just do the regular map just to start. And then I'll just click next. And I'm only going to deploy one of these because I'm going to actually show everybody what I do when I move someone from trial to a live account. It's so easy, but it works so well. So I let this launch all by itself, just like this, and you kind of see how it just loads and it builds the automations behind it. It'll build your email drip campaign. It'll build your SMS features. And then what happens is it actually stores as a photo down in your assets section of your settings. And so what I do is I go to this last one, because you see the date, January 22nd, which is today, and I open it. There's the picture, right? And then I grab this picture actually and throw it or just drag it with my mouse onto my computer. Following me so far?
Yep.
And then I go back into the funnels and I scroll down And you can do that for any time you run a new map ad, whether it's satellite or terrain or whatever you like, anytime you shift it. And I go down to this one I was telling you about that I like everybody using, because here it is. It's the call to action is enter your address, receive your home value, and it's blank. So I could go in here and I could pick, homes and so forth that are stock images, but I just think everybody does. I think it's cookie cutter. So, or I can upload my own images right here. And that's what I'm basically doing is I'm uploading this image I just grabbed. And once I upload it, it'll forever save as a file there. You won't have to go, oops, you don't want that one. So make sure it's the right one. Upload, recents, let's see. Make sure it's on there. Sometimes it's a little tricky because your computer doesn't catch it, but it's essentially just picking that ad image yesterday. Where is it? Oh, here, this is no date, for example. Okay, here we go. Okay, so once you have it in there, then you just taking that same address that you used before for the pin drop. And that's why I like to keep things copied in my little Command C, because then I can go Command V. You always find tricky hacks, so you don't have to do things over and over again. But once I get it, there it is. What's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value. Very straightforward. My parameters has already been set because I created that pin drop first and foremost. So this is the same image. Click next, drop that pin in the Portland, Oregon area. There it is. I don't have to go look at it again. I know it. The image already speaks to it. And then now I'm going to split it 3 times. And you can actually split it up to 5. You could, I've seen people do it. Just realize once you start splitting more aggressively like that, more than 3, you could, I would say, be more aggressive about turning ads off, because Facebook will spend your money no matter what, right? They're pretty smart like that. But once you start aggressively targeting, you'll start seeing patterns where if you have 5 ads going out, just continue like almost gleefully sit around the computer waiting for these leads to come in, and then identify which lead gives you the phone number the fastest, or which ad, and or the areas that you prefer the fastest. And obvious, anytime you're getting multiple submissions from any one given ad, that's kind of probably cluing you into the winner, especially if it's happening within the 24 hours period.
And sorry if this is a total complete rookie question, but what do you recommend for ad spend?
Well, I kind of start everybody at the $9 a day ad spend. I think you adjust depending on the way the ads perform in the market you're in, because, I say this all with like, you kind of got to get comfortable with the lead flow of which you feel like you could give quality follow-up. Like if it starts becoming overwhelming, which oftentimes it does for people, then you need to adjust so that it's not.
Yeah.
And that you have, that's why I'm a firm believer. You need to follow the success records of people that have done this before, like a Jennifer Salter. Like if you watch her webinar yesterday, in my mind, if you're going to be leveraging a funnel like this, you need to become highly proficient with email communication. And that's why video is so imperative.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, no one knows who you are, and they're going to always assume it's some sort of generated report or an algorithm otherwise.
Right.
So that's why you need to disrupt that pattern of thinking, because you're already disrupting their pattern of thinking by them clicking on that ad. Disrupt their pattern of thinking when they go back to the inbox. Disrupt their pattern of thinking when they get a text message from an AI named Julie. And if that AI feels like an AI, it needs to be changed to feel more personal.
Yeah.
And so that's where you start customizing that. And that's where you start trial and erroring. And I tell everybody too, like one of the best things you could do from the get-go is go to your ad section, click on view link, and everybody has a URL from that view link. Take that link and provide that to as many people as that you trust as possible that would give you constructive feedback, and say, do me a favor, put in your address, put in your email, give me, provide your phone number. I want to know if you were some random person on Facebook and you saw, an ad of mine. I'll show you my ad, you can show them. Would you connect with this experience? Because it's that experience you're providing in that moment, and then how you personally follow up and how you create systems behind that experience, that's going to continue to develop a model for you that gets, ultimately gives you conversations. You need conversations build this to provide yourself and get it into a conversation rather than to get an appointment.
Okay. I like that.
Oftentimes, like in the group right now, in the insider group, in the announcement section, which I always tell everybody to bookmark, there's a post by Melissa Porter where it's phenomenal because she goes out and just asks for people to text her pictures to give them a more in-depth market analysis. And she set 4 appointments that way. So it's almost, sometimes we get in the way of ourselves because we think it's like, it's all about getting that appointment, but the appointment comes, but sometimes you need to get them to take action first.
To trust you and to
know, like, and trust you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where video is going to be helpful and so forth. And yeah, I mean, so you kind of just sit here and you see how it successfully deploys, and you know, you can kind of sit back and look how that comes in, and they'll build it, and then you just go to your ad section, and it'll show you in here. So let's see here. My computer's just being a little slow, but it'll show you it as it turned on. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3. I'll turn off the 4th, and then you let this for the next 24 to 40 hours develop about a 500 people reach, or about $10 or more of ad spend for each one before you really decide which one's giving you the best results.
Okay.
And again, for everybody here, look for high click to contact ratios. So anything, if you're getting clicks, make sure that 50% of those clicks are getting at least a lead costs. Like, so if it's $1 click, you should be getting $2 leads because you're 50% of those. So I want to make sure that's happening. And then also 1 in 3 of those, in general, 1 in 3 of those addresses are becoming an email. Does it make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. And then you're going to want to turn on your AI. So I'll do that for you. You just kind of come in there and you pick a area code. So, you know, 503, I'm guessing, is what you're probably going to be starting with. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I added that for you too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Paula, what's, I'm going to go into your account, and you tell me, Paula, what's your last name on here if you want to provide it for me so I can go search for you.
Casey with a C.
Okay, cool. And then I'll break down your ads. But yeah, you remember all this to say that it's going to be a little bit of a fire hose in the beginning. I call it a fire hose or an elephant. You're going to take it one bite at a time. You know, beyond the trial, you still got to almost take it into 1 week evaluations, like what's working, what's not working, what do I need to do to get better, what classes do I need to go to, what workshops are available, you know, who do I need to model my follow-up like. And I think the group is the best way to do it. If you're sticking into the group in the Facebook group, there's so many great assets in there to kind of look at, starting with the one section called the announcement section, but really you can search in that group for almost anything that comes to mind, let alone like how people are giving home evaluations depending on the market they're in. Okay, so in this area, Paula, I'm gonna go into the ads that you've got. So we got 5 out of 22, good cost per click model, but 5 out of 22 is gonna be a little bit high for me, so I'm gonna pause that one. Because what we're seeing here is that you got 22 clicks. $1 click's great, but only 25% click to contact ratio, give or take, when you divide 5 by 22. Mm-hmm. So that's just kind of a little bit low. When you compare that to this one where you're getting 13 out of 19.
Yeah.
So way better. And you know, this one way too low too. So it's an obvious winner. Ad ending with 8.3. And now when I go into your contacts, we'll kind of review that essentially by how these contacts are coming in. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward when you start looking at it that way. So, you know, here's the 8.3, and again, Jay from 8.3, 7.3 from Gail, but you know, 8.3 again from Dave, and 8.3 again from Leslie. 8.3 again from Rhonda. So That's how you're kind of seeing the consistency of that.
Okay.
And, you know, your conversations, right, for everybody here, like you're going to experiment a little bit with it, because sometimes depending on the carrier, they don't get the first one, they get the second one. And so when they say, who is this? You say, you've just completed a request for a market online, right? Okay, that was a good one. No, not a problem. Apologies emailed to you. I mean, nice, short and sweet. You could even get in there and do something like this. So again, in my announcement section, when you go into like this Melissa Porter idea, I really love it. You can say something like, hey, you know, please, you know, do you mind sending me a few interior pics so I can get a more exact evaluation? Now, I wouldn't do that from Julie, because Julie's not going to get those pics. Julie's just kind of there to respond as an AI. You would use Julie first to pass over your own information and say, hey, Paul is going to reach out to you from this phone number. But this is a great way. And in many ways, I think for this type of email, you can automate that. Because if you guys all look at your settings, and you look at all the emails, which is the drip email that's coming out to these people. Right now, there's an after submission quick question, of which you can kind of go track to see who's getting what. Like you get a 50% open right now, and you can see, you know, who's it being delivered to, who's opening it, and so forth, and what they're getting, which is pretty generic. This is gonna be how you're gonna start branding you. So a lot of what we start training on together, and the more you kind of get to know our group, is like we show you what people are doing inside of that spot instead. They're throwing in video, you know, they're throwing in a link to their calendar, maybe a nice email signature. That's going to really enhance and humanize the process, especially when you're getting a large number of emails responding, or I mean, you know, address plus email only, and you're not getting the phone number. So how else do you have you know, you need to have a communication style that makes that person feel like they can connect to you. So you almost think of it like this: the creativity has to flow a little bit, because everybody wants to stick with the, you know, having done any updates or renovations that I should be aware of. But really, I think the moment they go to the inbox is a chance for you to not only introduce yourself, but communicate how you'd like to create the experience for them to get that home value. And everybody's going to have a different way of doing it, right? But you can kind of communicate in that moment why it's so important for you to have the best, all the information you need to give them the most accurate. And you can use words like, it's complimentary, there's no obligation attached to this. You know, it's my way of giving back. I do not like to give a guesstimate. If that was the case, you could have went to Zillow or Trulia and Realtor, you know, and they're going to give you values all over the place, right? In Canada, you'd say something else. But you know what I mean. So I think that's why I'm such a strong believer and advocate for a video email, especially when you use it like a Jennifer Salter level. So if you get excited about seeing Jennifer's success, consider why we want you to think about a course like hers. It's not for StreetText to make money on. It's just because we want you guys to be successful with the way you create a follow-up process. Because it's all going to come down to lead gen, and then you're always going to split an A/B test depending on which funnel, whether it's a buyer, a seller, or a listing. And we do custom ads, so you can custom ads too. But it also comes down to email and how you get that effectively opened, and how you continue to use both automations that are your personal touch on it, plus personal, obviously, follow-up. And it's fun because once you start understanding that, when you're doing your own personal follow-up, I'll give you an example here. Like I use BombBomb myself, obviously, and there is so many. You probably got an email from me already, but there's something I create called snippets, which are like pre-canned style emails that I already have set up. So if I wanted to do something like this, right? Hey, I would love for you to join us. Like, I can create things like this that I will send to every lead I have, but I'll kind of just cut, you know, change a little bit of the subject line with their name, maybe their address in there, that type of thing. But but I don't have to go and create a new one every time, right? And when you start thinking about this type of working smarter, not harder solutions, now you can create tracking behind it so that you know when it's being open, what's being clicked on, what's being watched. You know, for me, that's the whole power of this stuff. You know, not just the obvious humanized experience, it's the tracking components. It's the ability for me to send it from my phone, to send it on social. You know, I want to make this convenient and easy. So that's the power of StreetText, I think, is you're going to want to surround yourself and immerse yourself in the community, because there's so many people doing so many cool things, and you start picking up little breadcrumbs from people, and then you bring it back to yourself and you make it your own. Because there's no one way to do this. Even if people buy Jennifer's course, I tell them all, I'm like, okay, take what you love about it. Just like if you were to take Janky Patel, who's more of a team style person with, you know, ISAs and lots of help. It's easier to do that type of stuff in a different way. So there's just, you know, lead generation on Facebook is all about the relationship. It's all about investing in creating a process that people feel like you are, and, you know, they're not to sell them anything, but there to be from contribution and have a great conversation. I'm a firm believer that if you can find people on Facebook, connect with them there too. That's why I connected with all of you in the beginning, because I didn't want you to think that I was, you know, like Paul and I got into a text conversation early on, and it's, you know, I was miscommunicating and we misinterpreted each other. That easily happens with leads all the time, you know, because they're automatically going to be on defense and feel like you're soliciting them for their business too. So that's why we need tools that are humanized in this capacity. And now we have Zoom, and because of this COVID epidemic, it's almost like it's not optional anymore. A lot of the times we need to start the conversation this way so that person feels safe. Instead of, you know, back in the day, you could just knock on the door or, you know, say, hey, let's set an appointment. Some people might not feel safe to set the appointment at their home. So you guys kind of clear on that so far? All right, Erica or Keegan, which one, based on whoever unmutes himself first? And Erica, where do we target again? What was your area?
I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Awesome. How's our ads doing? Did we set up a couple splits, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I think they did pretty well.
Awesome. Now, I mean, how has that experience been so far, like with your follow-up? What's that been like for you? You know, is it kind of feeling overwhelming? What has it been like for you?
Well, I went into the Facebook group early on and I saw the message that you referenced earlier. And so I used that as a template for the messages that I've sent out. And I haven't heard back from anybody yet. So I'm working on following up with video.
That's the key, right? Because they're gonna, even if you ask that, it just depends on that person and how they communicate. And everybody's got a different style of communication. Some people are good with email. Some people don't, you know, prefer a phone call. Some people prefer a text message. You know, and you can use them all, and you're gonna have to figure out what works best for them. Some people are like big time messenger people like I am. Like, I'm like, get on Messenger. This way you can see and feel and experience me, and you can, you know, I don't use text very good just because it's such more of a promotion thing for me, just like remind people of things. But when I get a Messenger, I become a lot more personal. So that's just something to think about, like how your own style is. But everybody, depending on their generation too, do things differently. Some generations, like if you get a 70-year-old clicking on your ad and they give you a phone number, they don't want to be texted. They want to be called, right? So sometimes we've got to do a little bit of research on that level too. Okay. And then you get, you know, my generation, it was all we want to do is text. So it's a tough one. So we got your ad, the one that we left with is, wow, you upped your ad budget, good for you. And you this is a good one. $1 a click, 119 clicks, 67 out of 119, which is more than 50%. $1.93 addresses, $5.63 emails. And then, you know, obviously when you start looking at that ad ID ending with 7-3, looking at you know, here we go, 7-3, Daniel 7-3, Angela 7-3 with a phone number, Fred 7-3 with a phone number, Sharon 7-3 with a phone number, right? So trust me, like they're not going to be like picking up the phone, but I would basically, when you get a phone number, quickly go to see if they responded to the AI, and just pick up the phone and have fun. You know, say, hey, you just clicked on my Facebook ad. You're probably just curious. Most people are when they click on something like this. I'm sure you thought you were getting automated CMA or automated home value. Would I be correct? And they'd be like, yeah, I did it. You know, you do that whole thing, right, Erica? And then you kind of just turn the script and say, hey, totally understand this. It's very complimentary, no obligation. I'm going to actually get you some awesome information. I just have a few quick questions.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's how I would go about it. You know, hey, what was your motivation for clicking on this ad today? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just curious? Are you just considering the equity of your home, or are you guys considering actually moving sometime soon?
Yeah, exactly.
You come across that way, it's going to be a lot less intimidating for people rather than like, hey, I saw that you were looking to sell immediately.
Yeah.
You're like, click. So, you know, you'll get to understand this, but yeah, awesome ad. Erica, I mean, check out the webinar yesterday with Jennifer. All of you guys, if you get a chance to watch that webinar, it was really powerful. It's in the group right now in the announcement section. I recorded it on YouTube. And, you know, look at Jennifer's course. You know,
I'll be honest, the only thing with the course that I noticed that you guys had a previous course. And I know she mentioned that she was going to update her course regularly, but the back of my mind, I'm thinking if they had another course and they came out with this new course, then they're just going to come out with another course in like 3 months.
No, because I work that side. Janky is a team style hire. Like, you know, I've got ISAs, people working for me. She's got 2 ISAs working at the same time. She's got a big team. She's
Okay.
not really a video person, but she's great role play and scripts, phone calls, you know, and she runs buyer ads as well. And so she's got that style. Where Jennifer she uses StreetText as her own CRM. She is phenomenal with email communications. She's got a background as a 3rd grade teacher, and she takes that type of experience into the way she works with the leads. So it's a different style of agent altogether, a solo agent, sole proprietor, like no help, no team, no assistance, all her. So
Okay.
it depends on what profile style realtor you are, right?
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that's the key. If you're somebody who enjoys Facebook stalking, you know, people and connecting with them on Facebook and sending them Facebook messages and leveraging video like BombBomb, you're going to want Jennifer Salter.
Okay.
Just a thought. But you don't need any courses either. We have a free StreetText Academy, and you can just like search the group and find a lot of gold nuggets in there too. It just depends, right? Some people really like an outline moving forward. Some people want to figure it out themselves. So just something to think about.
Good stuff.
All right, Keegan. So polite. Waiting for all the ladies, right? That's mighty chivalrous of you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So are you guys following me? Is this good stuff so far?
Yep.
Cool. And I think it's nice to be in these small group environments because it allows us to kind of compare. Like there's no one way to do this. Some ads crush it, some ads don't. It just depends on your market. And sometimes you got to do multiple tests. All right. But all I can tell you is like, stay close to that group of the Facebook group. Like if you're going to learn, you're going to learn from everybody in there. I think we have 3,000 people that are in there. So what I did, let's see on yours is, did you see how I made a terrain image for you there?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, huh? And I did that because I like the idea because I'm from, you know, I know the area. I'm not from there, but I'm on the island, Vancouver Island, and lived in Vancouver or in that area previously and Kelowna. But the mountains are obvious through there, right? So that's what happens when you create a terrain image, guys, just so you know. And when you're looking at your stats, 6 out of 13, right about around that 50% mark. This one's got, for some reason, a lot higher. I don't understand 13 out of 7 clicks. That
So one of them I shared on my personal page and on my wife's page. So there's one of them will be a little bit inflated.
Well, you know, I actually, it's funny. A lot of people don't do that. And I love that you just did that, because when you start sharing this like this, you could share with a little personal message that says, hey, for all my friends on Facebook, I'm offering a complimentary walkthrough of the home. You know, I'll even bring over your favorite cup of coffee, COVID friendly, of course. We can do it on Zoom, right? So I don't know, you can have fun with it, but then share it and get some more organic clicks on there too. So I think that was a smart move that you did there. Okay, so now moving into this, then you're basically, again, going to review your contacts and start just kind of looking, you know, which ad it's coming from based on the ad ID and which part of that area, you know, Chilliwack seems like could be consistently coming in for you, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still really early for you. So I would carry those ads both on into the weekend.
Yeah, I turned the 2 off that weren't performing and left those 2 on.
Yeah.
And then I increased the budget to $12 each.
Perfect. Yeah, good stuff. You know, in some of the higher end markets too, that's always a bold move to throw in a couple extra dollars on the daily. And I know, you know, a couple of you have already done that. So good stuff. You guys have any last second questions before we kind of, you know, move to the weekend? And, you know, I would say next week, come to my lead conversion workshop. Check out the Calendly. I'm going to set this for you, calendly.com/StreetText to see all the different class options we have. It's right there in the little chat feature.
Okay, my question is, what is your best advice to do with all the address only leads?
Great question. Address only leads. Again, you want to jump into this group and literally just type in this little feature right here, address only. And I literally want to show you how many different examples there are of people doing address only, because there's so many cool ideas. Some people use QR codes. Some people are doing little personal notes. So scour through like just the search to see the higher comments and seeing, you know, what they're doing. Another thing I would say look in is this little like right here where it says files, recent files. Also, we have a section called files in the group, and a lot of people actually upload. They're all look at all this stuff. This is all free stuff you can look at, and a lot of them are mailer templates.
Okay, great. I'll definitely take a look. Thanks for that.
Yeah. And the StreetText Academy course it's full with them too. So there's a lot of different examples there. But here's what I want to tell you guys about address onlys. Address onlys could be a renter. Address onlys could be a buyer. Address onlys could be some nosy neighbor across the street, right? So I think ultimately, when you present that information to that person in the form of mail, you know, have fun with that type of idea. Say, hey, you know, I know that I got your address on Facebook with an ad. You can even show them the ad itself that someone clicked on. And you said, you know, oftentimes it is the homeowner, but I want to let you know it is a desirable area. It could be a buyer looking at your home. It could be a renter in your home. It could be just someone playing around. I just want to make sure that this information got to you. And if you're wanting to proceed with getting a home valuation, here's how you can get it. That's how I would do it.
I'm going to do it that way.
Cool. Awesome. Who's the iPhone? I can't hear you, but if you can,
Wendy.
Wendy.
It's Wendy, Truck and Road.
Hi, Wendy. Did you
Hi.
want me to? Did you have any questions? Did you want me to review your ad?
I'm kind of joining you.
I know
that would be great because you've texted me once which one, but I don't see the numbers where you're at, what you've chosen.
Okay. Yeah, and you can like review this info. I am recording it. So whatever you're in your dashboard, there This is the ad section where these ads are sitting. And the ad section always breaks down the ad performance. So the ad performance itself is obviously like cost per click, cost per lead, cost per email, right? So Wendy, let me see what we got for you. Okay. I think your trial might have just ended automatically.
Yes.
So if I look at your ads, I would have said 39 out of 57 would have been a phenomenal one. $1.54 addresses, $3.33 emails. That's why I think we kept that one running as opposed to these other ones. These other ones are actually still pretty good, but you found the winner with that one. So that in itself is like, you know, more almost, if you look at 40 out of 57, like that's almost 66%, which is really high. And then similarly, you got almost a 50% email to lead ratio, which is really high. So that's a great ad. You would definitely want to keep that running.
And that was the first one, not the second one, right?
That's the first one. Yeah, that's the one where you spent the most money on, basically the one that you kept leaving on.
Okay. Because in the message you had sent me, you said the second one. So that's why I was so confused. I'm like, but the numbers that you're telling me were the first one. So I kind of figured it out.
It moves up if you keep it running.
Right.
That's what I meant. So it was probably the second one at the time when you were running the split test, and then it moved up.
Gotcha. Okay. So my trial ended. So now I need to figure out if I'm going to join. And then if I'm going to join, you know, there's a 3, 6 month and a year, right?
That's correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And so
okay.
They're all great options. A lot of people, you know, obviously for savings, you get the most savings for the year. And I think when you mentally commit that way, you're going to see the biggest ROI, because that's when, you know, when you plant these seeds with these type of leads, the majority of your ROI comes later. But if you do any one of the shorter plans, just really be sold out to every week joining our community, doing the masterminds, going through the training that we have available, like really becoming like the science behind emails and opens and video plays and all that good stuff. Just commit yourself to who's winning, follow a plan, and you're going to see ROI.
Okay. I know the big thing I probably want to go after is more buyers than sellers. I know you make more money with sellers, but I love my buyers.
Well, buyers are sellers on Facebook. That's the thing. So you got to remember, when you attract buyers, I have so many agents that tell me all the time that their buyer ads are giving them sellers too, because these buyers, they want to know what's out there, but they still got to sell first. So just remember, you're going to double end a lot of these deals, but you have to ask the right questions. And actually, some of our funnels do ask if they have to sell as well.
Okay.
So Janky Patel is a really great example of using buyer campaigns and then also getting sellers from them. So, and again, sellers are buyers, right? So,
right.
You know, when you're working the top of the funnel, the good part of these type of leads is that they are usually double-ended deals. You just got to kind of nurture them and ask them, and you know, sometimes it's a longer game, but needless to say, in this time and day and age we live in, I think a lot of people are making immediate decisions because of they don't want to be there anymore. You know, health reasons, all this other stuff that's happening right now is causing some people to rethink where they want to be for the rest of their life.
Okay.
Cool. Book a one-on-one with me if you do end up moving forward, and that goes for everybody here.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Was that some good stuff? Perfect. All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks again.
Have a good
Thank you.
weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.